connected. N7KC.
The Western Washington Amateur Television Society net, I'm J87BYM. Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Amateur radio and TV that takes to the airwaves with video fast scan television. We have a repeater located in Cougar Mountain. Transmit on 70 centimeters, it's a cross-band repeater, and 2,000 and we use the 08 repeater for our net shows on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So before we get fully into our net, we take a break, somebody needs to make a connection with somebody or like emergency traffic, do so now. Hearing none. Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Radio Television. Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Taking check-in. So far I see James, WU7N, and I've heard Lee, M7KC on Echo Link. Anybody else like to check in? And I haven't heard of anybody, so let's start off with James, WU7N. Again, we'll try James, WU7N, not getting any audio through the 08 repeater. Yeah, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. I'm Dave, 87BYM. Technical difficulty. Let's try Lee, M7KC through Echo Link.
Okay, 57KC, Lee in Port Angeles. How well am I getting in, Dave? Joe?
Oh boy, it's pretty noisy, about 60% clear.
Connected, WU7N.
Okay, we're good. Well, 57KC, Lee in Port Angeles again. Well, let's say, I'm hearing a lot of noise on Echo Link from, I think it's the repeater. And it was a long time. In fact, when Ron was transmitting and whatnot, I heard he got no audio from the 08 machine, and nor did I hear it on Echo Link. Now, I'm not sure you heard Ron, Dave. Did you hear him check in? That's it?
Negative. I've not heard from KD7CKU this evening.
Place is an issue. Maybe more than one, who knows. Okay, well that's all I've got here for the initial round. So this is M7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. I'm going to send it back to Dave.
Seems like Echo Link is hanging up the system tonight for some reason. I heard James check in on Echo Link, WU7N, it's KD7BYM.
This is WU7N Whiskey Uniform 7 November on Echo Link. Dave, do you copy?
Affirmative. I can copy you there. Seems like the 08 machine didn't like you, or doesn't seem to like me either.
Well, Dave, I don't think you heard me at all on 2-meter direct. I'm putting about 4 watts into the second antenna as usual, and you didn't copy me at all. Is that correct?
Affirmative. I don't know if you heard me or not.
Dave, when you first came on with your net introduction, with that professional announcer voice you have, I could take the signal, but the audio level was very low. So I'm not sure what's going on tonight, but my little 4 watts into my usual J-pole antenna is not really cutting it tonight.
In the system somewhere, I see Ron signed on visually 87QKU, but was saying, indicating he could not hear the 08 machine.
Well, I kind of think tonight for transmitting to the OA machine, I kind of get the feeling it's echo link or nothing for transmit, and dealing with a little bit of delay on echo link. And of course, when I first logged on the video tonight, it was a 12-second video delay on streaming. So I don't know what everybody wants to do tonight. I can work with it. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, we can get audio from you and Lee and me, but I don't know what we can do for audio for Ron.
Hey, James, Lee here. Do you hear me?
Yes, Lee, you come through just crystal clear on my computer.
Okay, well, what I want you to do, your screen is up there now, and could you put a hand in there? I'd like to know what the latency is. Can you put your index finger up straight and then snap it over 90 degrees or something like that, so that and tell us. Let's see, how am I going to do that? Oh dear. I need to know when you do that so I can count. Oh, I'll forget it. It's not worth it. Anyway, back to that. In some cases.
Earlier, when I very first started, the latency was about 12 seconds on streaming.
This is KD7CYM, Western and Amateur Television Society net with a little bit of technical problems through the 08 machine tonight. I don't know what's happening there. Moved over to Echo Link to get in to the 08 machine, but I'm not able to seem to get through direct this evening.
Dave, I think that's a good idea. I don't know if Ron can do that or not.
Switch tones and use the Cougar repeater, KV7DQH.
I can hear something in the background saying switch over to the Cougar tone rather than Tiger, and that may enable the repeater.
That's another idea. Everybody switch PL tone, and let's see if the other repeater works. Ron, we're not hearing you at all. YMT7HYB.
YB, you copy.
Of resolving the
hear them.
Throw everything you got at it, and probably another 100 watts more, and you might hit it. Cougar's receiver, of course, is functioning marvelously. So as long as you can hear Cougar, it should be good. Kilo Bravo 7, Delta Quebec Hotel, back in the control.
BYM K7HYB for info.
K7HYB, go ahead.
You hear the comment about Cougar? Change the tone over to 103.5, and the Tiger, apparently the Tiger repeater receiver is having hearing problems.
Okay. Dave, KD7ZYM. Let's see, anybody else on? KD7QKU.
KU, do you copy, Dave? 3.5 tone. Dave, how am I sounding?
You're sounding pretty good. My problem is I can't find my manual to change over the tone.
Hey, me, KD7QKU. Ron, K7HYB. You really have to pause for a minute. I saw your mouth move, but it's not you. It's the repeater needs like a full second to lock on. Okay. Did anybody hear me? KD7QKU. Ron? You're loud and clear, but the second of your transmission is clipped off. Maybe mine is too, but you really have to stomp on the push to talk button and then count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi before you start talking. K7HYB.
Yeah, this is N732, Port Angeles, testing 1, 2, 3.
We can hear you. You're just fine on Echo Link. Coming in through Cougar, K7HYB. Gary, all I heard was Cougar and then your call sign. I am live, coming through Cougar, K7HYB, tone 103.5. Okay, and Dave, continue to run the net. I can hear you, your audio's low, but I can still hear you.
Why don't you take over the net? I'm still fighting with reading manuals.
Will do. This is James, Whiskey Uniform 7 November, WW7N, getting something to write with here and getting something to write on. I'm not sure I've got the correct order here or not, but I believe we have Ron, Lee, then we have, I think the next person in the list, Ron Lee, is Gary. On the net tonight, you can either use Echolink or use the 103.5 tone, listening for any new check-ins. New check-ins heard, 8:15 after the hour, 8:16 after the hour. I really appreciate everybody hanging in here with this. This is actually ham radio that I really enjoy. So, Ron, let's go ahead and let you have the microphone here. This is WW7N.
This is Ron, KD7QKU. And by the way, Dave, I heard you just fine the last transmission on the 08 repeater. So I think you're okay. I don't know what you're looking up in the manual. All you have to do is transmit your picture, and I think you're good to go. So anyway, good evening, everyone. Nice to hear from you. Sorry we're having a little bit of trouble here. But we spent the last 5 days down at Ocean Shores. We taken the motorhome down. Our oldest son and daughter-in-law called last week and said, hey, it's going to be beautiful. Let's go to the beach. So they taken their motorhome. We taken ours. We went down. And then my wife's sister and brother-in-law called and said they had rented 3 rooms in their whole family, so they have 3 girls. So their 2 daughters came. One daughter, I guess, got a cold from the kids, and she stayed home, but her husband came with their kids. So they had their 2 daughters and 3 son-in-laws with all their kids, and they were, riding go-karts, and they were swimming and bowling, and they were on the beach flying kites and running around. They had a fantastic time. Couldn't have had much nicer weather in the middle of November. It did get kind of cool in the evening. It would get down to like 36 degrees. But we didn't have much fog, just some dew. And the first couple of days, there wasn't even enough wind to fly kites, but just beautiful blue skies. So anyway, that was our 5 days. So we had a nice time. So back to net, KD7QKU.
Ron. Next up would be Lee on Echolink, and I don't know, Ron, if you've got a Lee port in on Skype or not. Do you have that audio, that video?
Okay, incoming KC, Lee in Port Angeles. I can faintly hear my signal via Skype from Eastgate. It doesn't sound too bad. That's something I was going to report. We had 0.2 of an inch of rain last night, nothing today, and we're only just a little over 19 inches for the year so far. And we're never going to make our rainfall, I don't think, the month of December for the year. I have an 8-meter dipole up now, 75 actually. It's not in a complete straight line, and so we've got to knock 2 feet of it. So both legs are 64 feet 6 inches. So mathematically it comes out about 75 meters. And I'm feeding it with open wire ladder line. I have into the house now, but I haven't had a chance to look at the radio yet. It's more than it should be. It's not in a straight line, but the art of engineering, the science of engineering just really comes down to the art of making the best compromise. So that's the best I could do, and so we'll see what it does. I'm excited about that. And it's full wavelength on 40. So and that's the 2 W's that I'm interested in getting into later on this winter. What else? Went to Spoon today, bought some stuff for the shop, working on the shop. I don't know what else to say, really. Heidi James, and Dave as well, and I've already talked to Ron on stuff. So, anyway, I'm about out of time. With that, in 7KC, Port Angeles, back to net control.
KD7ZYM. Is this any better? I think I reset the tone.
And then, just like Dave, at least at my end only, your signal is there, but the audio I really have to strain a little bit to hear it. Also, on Echolink, it's interesting that I don't hear anyone else on the repeater. I just hear people who are logged into Echolink. So it's kind of a receive-only function on Echolink for the net tonight. But when I transmit, anybody listening on the repeater output can, of course, hear what people say on Echolink. So just be aware of that. This is WW7N. Next in line, Gary, you're up. Let's throw a video signal up there and hear what's going on in your neck of the woods.
Well, you know how things are going. Are you copying me?
Yes, Gary, we all have to use good mic discipline, push that push-to-talk button and give it a full second, but your both audio level and your signal strength is loud and clear.
Okay, I tend to forget. I'm sorry about that. Let me give you the mugshot here. Let's see if it's coming through. Yeah, I'm attempting to set up my Echolink also here. I'm going to try that for the next go-around and see if I can make it work. I've had it on my computer for quite a while. I mean, I've logged into the 08 machine with Echolink, but I've never really been on the net with that way. So I'm going to try that next go-around. I really don't have too much to say at this point, except that I'll pass it back to you, James, and let you kick it around, and I'll get set up for the next go. W7N, K7HYB.
HYB, that's K7HYB. I probably cut my own first transmission off there. Your video signal is really good tonight. You've got a really good mug shot up, and I just thought I'd let you know for some reason the video is coming through just great tonight. Dave, you're up. Are you out there? Can you hear me? Go ahead.
I've changed my tone over to 103.5. Is that any better?
Dave, you are loud and clear. Would you like to take back over the net now that you're kind of back on and full quieting with a good audio signal?
Give that a try. We'll see what happens here. This is Dave, KD7CYM. And James, you always come up with unusual things, and this is something I found lately, and it took some looking around to figure out what it was. You want to make a guess? KD7CYM, WU7N. James, are you there?
Well, this is comical. My battery just died on my handheld transceiver, so Dave, I think you need to take over. This is WU7N. Go ahead. WU7N on Echolink. I cannot hear you, but I heard you with a 12-second delay on the video streaming. I'm a 12 seconds behind you on audio. I saw you put up a scissors-type device, and I think you were asking, what is it? And wow, you got me. Here's my wild guess, and let's go all the way around the group and see what else everybody comes up. Maybe it's something to remove the oil filter. That's my guess. This is WU7N.
connected. K7HYB.
Anybody else like to make an attempt what they think it is?
See if I can see it.
For a while and see, we'll give it 30 seconds to see if the streaming will pick it up.
Is it?
Else want to have a comment on? I thought I heard Ron there asking what it was.
I can tell you.
Go ahead.
It's removing jar lids.
Well, it's interesting. When I first saw it, I thought it would have to do with filters or the jar lids, but then further research, it's to pick up a turkey out of a roasting pan and put it on a plate. Put it up in the middle of the turkey and squeeze it, and then you can actually put it the other way around. It on the turkey and then lift it up and move it over. So that's what it really is.
What's that made of, Dave? What's it made of, Dave?
Aluminum. It was interesting. When I first saw it, it was like, what in the world is this? And for $1.95, I said, I'll buy it and try to figure out what it is. And so I found out it's for picking up turkeys that have been cooked.
The question was, what is it made out of?
It is made of aluminum.
Yes, I understand that, but it looks like it's also adjustable. There you go. It goes wide, yeah. Okay, KD7QKU.
Positions to it. If you had a 20-pound turkey, you would open it up wider.
I don't want to be in the same room when you pick that turkey up in 7 cases.
I understand that. Well, let's see. Coming down the line now, James had a problem. Let's see if Ron's there. KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. This is Ron, KD7QKU. Well, that's a kind of a unique gadget. I don't know how often you'd use it, but Dave gave us some big forks that were really good at things like this, too. Well, I was talking to my son on the phone just before the net started, and he'd been out on his property for 8 days. He said sounded like he was kind of lonesome. He finally got all of his permits. They have the footings formed up and all the rebar and everything, and he's just waiting for the inspection. That should happen tomorrow, and then I think they're going to pour cement on Friday. That'll get the footing poured, and then they put the foundation walls on top of that. But he told me today he has a tractor with a bucket on the front of it, and he has a pole saw, and so he wanted to cut some limbs, and so he was in the bucket and he used a stick or something to run himself way up in the air. And then he was cutting his limb off, and the limb swung around and hit him and almost knocked him out of the bucket. Yeah, and he's all out there by himself, so he would have, probably laid there for months before anybody would have found him. I guess when Thanksgiving came and he didn't show up, they'd go look for him. Somebody would. But anyway, he said it was kind of a close call. So I told him, be careful, or we're going to have to get him one of those things like they have for senior citizens that you wear around your neck so you can press it if you have trouble. And then he told me somebody had tried to break in the gate, if you can imagine that, and they had beat on his padlock and stuff. That's disgusting. I don't know what's wrong with people out there. All right, that's all I have. So we can go over to Lee, I guess, if you want to do that.
Let's try it.
Okay, this is P7KC, Lee over in Port Angeles. Now, what I'm going to do this time is try to measure my latency. So I'm going to raise my finger right now. Oh dear, I can see right now it's not near as fast as it was, but okay, finger's up. So here we go. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 2008, 2009, about 8 seconds latency, roughly. And it had been running about 2 seconds here on ultra low. So I think this is low. I believe there's another setting for low latency, and I believe that's maybe where it is. 8 seconds. Okay. But Ron punches a nice signal into the mountain up there for streaming. Boy, so does Dave. Very nice. Interesting gadget, Dave. Not about it. Anyway, I'll keep it shorter. I am so tired I can hardly keep my eyes open. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night for whatever reason. And I didn't get a nap today, so I'm always driving. Anyway, with that, N7KC Lee in Port Angeles. Back to next.
Okay, Lee, thanks with that, and thanks for Ron for patching your video through. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. James came up with this wonderful device that he had that we concluded was a Tommy Hawk, and I've got the current version that's from Estwing, that's used by military, and it's put on with quarter-inch steel that has a nice handle on the base, and again has the wonderful pointed end on it, and then there's a blade on the front surface that you could use as an axe or chop through a helmet, and this is what the military guys are using overseas. This is the current issue they're purchasing. Let's see, I've got another one here. Up here with a cord. Here's a model called a Humvee that was used in the Gulf War, and it's also quarter-inch steel, pressed steel, nice sharp point on the end that can be used as a cutting device, and also it has an edge on the lower half, so you can hack it into something and use it as a can opener. And then it uses paracord all up and down the handle, sort of a insulation for vibrations if you hit something. This is the older version from the Gulf War that the guys were using. I picked these things up several years ago, and they're just kind of a... The back end was the Humvee one, and also turned around 180 degrees, so you could have a sharp point versus a downward point. So anyway, that was what I have for show and tell. And so let's go to Gary, K7HYB. K7HYB, this is KD7ZYM. Gary, are you out there?
David? There we go. I'm here, David. I was trying to get in through Skype or through Echolink, and I wasn't successful. I guess I haven't figured out how to key the turn on the repeater yet, or the audio path to the repeater. So anyway, I'm really not doing a whole bunch here. That's very interesting, David, that you come up with some of those things. It was a pretty quiet day for me today. Wife went bowling. I vacuumed the house and clipped the trials on the clamp. Real exciting stuff. Oh, that's about the slum. That's about the slum of my day. Anyway, and I'll kick it back to you because that's going to still try and get this Echolink working. K7ZYM, K7HYB.
Comment?
I hear somebody say comment.
Just want to let Gary know that the space bar activates the microphone, but you have to be really jam up everything for everyone else. Just a comment there. Go ahead, Dave.
This is Dave, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine and Echolink, and having an interesting evening. For me today, boy, it started out early. I had to visit the dentist this morning at 9 o'clock for just a simple little tooth cleaning, and then his hygienist didn't turn up, and so his assistant did the brushing and the polishing of the teeth while the dentist was working with another patient, and then he himself came in and did the cleaning on the teeth. So that was very interesting. I must say he's much more gentle than the hygienist, but I don't know how deep he dug down in. The hygienist kind of makes your toes tingle at this particular dentist's office that I was seeing. And got some paperwork done around the house and some chores done, so that was about it. So let's move back up to James, WW7N.
Thank you, Dave. I've got kind of a weird situation here. I think Gary has the same problem, where I have to turn the volume down on my handheld receiver so that I can talk on Echolink. And the battery died it lasted right up until I could turn the net back over to you, so I'll have to look into seeing if the battery has lived its lifespan or not. Ron, I've been out to the airfield at Ocean Shores. I'm glad you had a good time with the kids. I'm glad to hear that your son was not hurt. That sounds like that was very much a close call. The question I had for you said it was 0.2 of an inch of rain, 19 inches for the year. What is normal for up where you live? And on your 785-meter dipole, is that a full half wavelength? In other words, is it a quarter wavelength for each leg? I was wondering about that. And the ladder line, did you make it yourself or did you buy it? And also on your CW, are you just using your ear and your brain, or are you going to use a computer with that? Dave, thank you very much for the weird item of the night, and also the 2 Tommy Hawk. Interesting note, I was doing the research at the pointed end of those military ones they've been issuing for the last 15 years are really for hacking through glass and rock and cement walls. That's so you don't mess up the blade side. So, here. I think I'm just about timed out on Echo Link. I didn't have the timer there, so I'm not sure if I'm still going here or not. So let me turn it back to net control.
WW7N James, this is KD7ZYM. Let's move on to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you, Dave. KD7QKU here. Well, those tomahawks were quite interesting. I guess I don't have one. You need to probably carry that when you go for your walks, Dave. But I guess your neighborhoods are kind of safe. I'm trying to think of what else went on. I went to the ophthalmologist today. I've been putting drops in my left eye. I've been on the verge of glaucoma for quite a few years, and so I was putting drops in once a night. So now she had me putting them in. One drop goes in morning, evening, and then I put another drop in the evening. And so my pressure had gone from 24 to 10. So that was rather successful. So she was happy that happened. So the problem is with the morning and evening when it makes me dizzy a little bit. It goes away eventually. So anyway, such is life, I guess. So I guess we'll go over to Lee, and maybe Lee can answer James' questions.
Okay, N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Well, James, let me describe my 75-meter dipole. That antenna wire, that twisted stuff that looks coppery and whatnot that you can buy, they call it antenna wire, and it's very nice. I had 6 75-foot chunks of that. It's something brand new that I used for radios on a Shakespeare vertical that I borrowed from the university once for field day. And so I used 2 of those, and I found 2 trees on our property where I could, the maximum, they're trees actually slightly farther apart on one leg, but the best I could really do from the antenna and not in the tree limbs was 64 feet 6 inches on each side. And so I decided that I would just take open ladder line, which I did not. It's stuff that's molded in, I guess it's $300 or $400 line, I forget what I bought. And it's got periodic little square openings in it, and it's encased in plastic. About 100 feet of that was the least I could buy from, I don't know, Universal Radio or somebody. So basically, I just, with 3 trees, I put poles up in each of the trees as high as I could get the ladder and still be out of the limbs. Snap rings and things like that, and so I hoisted the antenna up in the middle, and I'd already soldered the ladder line to 2 inches of the wire that I left attached when I put it on the insulators. And then the other trees I had pulley's already in place and camouflage lines. And I pulled them up, and it took about 8 pounds to hold the line just nice and taut. And I put lead weights on either end of it, so as the wind blows the trees, the antenna is somewhat compliant, it won't come crashing down by being broken, being overstretched. And then I ran, so it's not a perfect straight line, it's an obtuse angle. I would say it's more like probably 105 degrees maybe or something like that. Oh, I better quit talking. I'm going to run out of time. N7KC, back to net.
thanks for joining the net. And thanks to KD7QKU for bringing you across on Skype for video. Let's go to K7HYB. Gary. K7HYB, Gary, K7HYB, this is KD7ZYM.
Hey, Echolink isn't doing the job for me tonight. I pushed the space bar, and it's not telling me that I'm transmitting, and I can't hear the signal. I may not be connected up properly either. Am I all right here?
Somehow you're coming through. I don't know if it's Echolink or via the 08 repeater.
Right and true here. Anyway, there's the mugshot. I'm connected on Echolink, but for some reason or other, I am not hearing anyone coming through the repeater other than the people who are on Echolink already. So all I'm hearing is James and Lee. So that's all I've got on my side here. In order to listen to the repeater, I have to turn my radio up on my 706 up there to listen, because I haven't got the headset on. So I'm still working on playing around with that, and one of these days I'm going to come up with an unusual one for you. I'm working on a couple, and unless you really know what I do, you won't be able to figure it out, I'm pretty sure. I'll know what they are, but you won't. Anyway, back to you, Dave. KD7ZYM, K7HYB.
KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 repeater and Echolink this evening. Well, it's been an interesting net so far. I haven't got anything else I can dig out. I'm going to be tomorrow. Maybe I'll find something rather new that I can show maybe the next net. So that's what I've got to say here. So let's go up to James, WU7N.
Gary, I think you might have your transmitter still in transmit mode. Go ahead and check that, please. Okay, well, anyway, Dave, I think you have the word for strangest items. I just have to say I never would have guessed in a million years that the large pair of scissors was to take out a turkey or a bird out of a pan. I can see how it would be very effective for that, and it's sort of like a pair of those Chanel box pliers. You can get it bigger for the really big bird, but I would think at some point the bird would get large enough that it would really be a test of your lower grip strength. Ron, good news about your eyes. I'm glad to hear that. That's always good news. Dave, dental work, I don't know what to say about that other than ouch. Looks like you got a deal there with the dentist. Good luck with that. I have an interesting bit of trivia on tomahawks when I was doing research on mine. I guess the latter versions of the last 15 years of warfare that they're issuing the troops have insulated handles because one of the purposes or points, no pun intended, of the tomahawks is to cut through walls either for breaching operations or to make a hole in the wall to shoot out of. So the ones I read about that are the most recent versions of that have insulated handles so that I guess if you hack into some wire that's energized or something, you don't get zapped. I thought that was kind of interesting in addition to the point, which I just assumed was some sort of weapon. I guess it could be used for that, but the point is so you don't mess up your blade side of it. thank you very much for your answers. Yeah, the latter line I was thinking about was that stuff that's really old stuff, like I see in the 1920s pictures where there's the two conductors separated by the little piece of wood, and so I guess you have a modern version of that sealed in plastic. So I guess that's about it for this round for me. I see it's 8:51, so this is James, WW7N on Echo Link, turning it back to Dave, KD7QKU, and on this is me via Echo Link, turning it back to you on repeater.
Connected, K7HYB.
WU7N. Well, let's move on to Ron, KD7QKU.
James has to shut down his transmitter. KD7ZYM in the group, KD7QKU. Well, as usual, it's always interesting listening and talking to you guys. Trying to think of what else is going on. We went to a rock club last night over in Ballard, and they had what they call Members Mart. They set up a bunch of tables, and then people that have crafts or something that they make. It doesn't have to be anything related to rocks. It can be food or crochet or sewing or whatever. They bring them, and then the members can buy some of the stuff for Christmas gifts or whatever. And then after that, they had what they called Rock Bingo. They had tables covered with rocks, and then as you played bingo, when you got a bingo, I guess that's what you call it. So you could go choose a rock, and we went until it was blackout. So all the rocks were gone by the time the evening was over. They asked everybody to bring a grocery bag or something so they could cart home their rocks. So we had our fare.
0BHP.
I don't know what I'm going to do with them. So anyway, let's go over to Mr. Lee and see what else he has on his mind this evening. So, go ahead, Lee. Disconnected from Echolink, and he can't get hooked back up again, so I guess he's saying 73, so I'll say 73 too. So 73, everybody. KD7QKU, I'm clear. Good night, bye-bye.
Thanks for that, Ron, and thanks for bringing Lee in. We'll go to James, WU7N, for a final.
Okay, well, I just got to say I got to get a few things fixed because I got too many buttons and switches to throw all at the same time, and a lot going on. I see also N0 Victor Hotel Papa N0 VHP Craig into Echo Link. Craig, I'm not. Apologies, I don't remember you if you've come here before, but just so you're aware, the only people you can hear on Echo Link are the people who are logged into Echo Link. Everybody else on the repeater you cannot hear on Echo Link. So anyway, 73s, everybody. Very interesting net tonight, Dave. Really interesting items. Ron, glad to hear your son is okay. So let me turn it back to Dave. KD7 saying 73s.
Go to Gary, K7HYB.
Is it my turn?
Well, I'm hearing you on the speaker in my place, on the 08 machine.
Okay, well, KD7ZYM, K7HYB, and the departed others. It's been an interesting... Hearing the people on the repeater is because they're coming in through echo link on the receive side is through Tiger. I think that's the reason why we're not hearing, why you, James, and Lee are not hearing the people you should be able to hear them. And I think the reason we're not is because we're coming in through the Cougar receiver and not the Tiger receiver for the 08 side. Anyway, 73's all. I'm out of here, and it's always interesting. There's always something to solve or something to talk about here. We'll talk to you later. And KD7ZYM in the group signed out, K7HYB, and this is my 73s.
HYB, is there anything from anyone before we wrap up the net? Hearing none, we'd like to thank the owners and operators of the 08 machine, the SeaTac Repeater Group, for allowing us to use it for our voice channels for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays on the 08 repeater. So with that, we'll be signing off. This is Dave, KD7ZYM, on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Good evening all at 2057.
Gary, are you still, you look like you're still signed on to Echo Link. Can you hear me? Negative contact. This is WW7 clear.
WW7N disconnected. N7KC disconnected. K7HYB disconnected. Connected K7HYB.